Imposter syndrome sucks, and it's one of the biggest problems you'll face as an entrepreneur. Every single entrepreneur I know struggles with it because when you're taking on something new, it's scary. You don't know what you're doing. You doubt yourself. And so today I want to talk to you about what imposter syndrome is, how it stops you from manifesting money, and 3 tips that you can use to drop imposter syndrome so you can make money faster in your business. Dr. Amanda the Money Healer here, and the reason I care about imposter syndrome is because I used to struggle with it horribly, and it causes doubt, and doubt expands the time of manifestation and makes you push money away because doubt signals to the universe that you're not certain, that you don't know what you're doing, and that you are scared. And fear is a frequency that you don't want to be emitting because when you do that, you are stopping money from flowing your way easily. And here on the NFA Money channel, we're always talking about money confidence tips to help you manifest money more easily. And I care about this because when I was on food stamps, I was scared and I really wanted to build a business fast and be successful. And so I went from food stamps to building a 6-figure business in many ways through breaking through my imposter syndrome. So what imposter syndrome is, you'll know you have it if you worry about not being good enough. This is the number one thing. It's a lack of self-love and worrying that you're not good enough. So this could look like, I don't know if I have what it takes to build a successful business. I'm not sure if I'm as good as that person. So you negatively compare yourself to other people. You worry that you aren't going to be seen as a professional. Maybe this could be that you dropped out of a business or you decided to end a job and then you started a business and now you're like, God, I was like a powerhouse in this executive position or in this professional position, but now in my business, I feel like a kid and I don't know what I'm doing. And that's normal, right? When you start a business, you're not going to know what you're doing. What it does is triggers this imposter syndrome, these doubts, these fears, these uncertainties that you aren't good enough and that you don't have what it takes. So you start to over deliver and over give and undervalue yourself. So it's like you're pitting yourself down here and putting everyone else above you. So you negatively compare yourself to other people. So you put yourself in the pit and other people on a pedestal and you think they're better than me. And you start to look at people in the business world as if somehow they have something you don't have. And the funny thing here is that you're probably looking at people who are way ahead of the game in business. One of the things I used to do, one of my main mentors, Dr. John Demartini, he's been in business for 50 years. And I would compare my website to his and, the content I was putting out. And I was in year 1 of my business. Of course, my stuff wasn't as good as his. He's had 45 years of experience to build his business. And yet I did this with most of the people I was comparing myself to. And I just shrunk and I felt small and I minimized myself in comparison to other people. And I see a lot of the entrepreneurs that I work with do this too. So if you're doing this, it's okay. Acknowledge it and just go like, hey, I am doing this. And remember, Mark Twain says, comparison is the death of joy. Comparison is the death of joy. So run your show, be running your game. Know that your success is inevitable as long as you stay on track. And we're going to talk about the tips in a minute. So imposter syndrome, you're worrying that you aren't good enough. You're negatively comparing yourself to other people. You're minimizing yourself and your accomplishments. You're struggling with perfectionism. And overall, you have a lack of self-love. So I want to dig into this one a little bit more, the minimizing yourself and your accomplishments. What this looks like is even though you have a lot of experience or you have a little experience, but you have a lot of results and it's something you want to be bringing to the world in your business, you minimize it and you think, what if it's not good enough? What if people won't buy it? What if they won't spend this amount of money on my skill set? Who am I to bring this to the world? I hear this one all the time. Who am I? Who's going to listen to me? Who am I? And all of this is coming from a place of not enoughness, not believing in yourself, and not trusting that when you put it out there, you're going to attract the right people because you only need to be one step ahead of the game, right? You need to be one step ahead of the person you're attracting to help. One step, that's it. It's interesting that I have a PhD because it seems like it would make imposter syndrome go away. It's like, oh, you have a PhD, you've gone to a lot of school, you have a lot of expertise. But that was not in the area of business building. And in a lot of ways, academia it's like a petri dish for imposter syndrome, because there's a lot of hypercriticism and critique to train you to be a rigorous academic. And it made me really doubt myself. So when I stepped into business, it was like, shit, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm scared. And so here's 3 tips that I practiced on myself and that I teach the people that I get to work with, how to overcome imposter syndrome. The first one, and this relates to perfectionism, because so I'm rewinding here a little bit. Perfectionism is one of those symptoms of imposter syndrome. And the reason you have perfectionism is because when you minimize yourself and you doubt yourself and you think other people are better, you go, well, if it's perfect, then people won't notice that I'm a fraud. Or if it's perfect, then people will think I'm more professional. If it's perfect, then I'll look better. And the thing is, it can never be perfect. And what this causes is for you to hesitate, procrastinate, and doubt yourself even more, because now you're sending a feedback loop to your mind. I want to get it out there, but I'm not getting it out there. So no one I can't practice, I can't get better, and no one can even tell me if what I'm doing is working or not. I don't get any feedback because I'm procrastinating. And so perfectionism is like a mask of procrastination, and the underlying context is imposter syndrome. You're afraid that you're not good enough, and so you're trying to prove your worth through perfectionism. So in tip number 1, this is what I started to do. And for me, this showed up as like constantly tweaking my website. The first website I built was on WordPress, and it was like, oh, I need this font to be perfect before I can tell people I have a website. Or, it was like down to like the spacing of the letters and the spacing between the words. It was just like so ridiculous. And finally I was like, this is crazy. And so I started to use this mantra. So this is tip number 1. Screw perfection, just get started. Screw perfection, just get started. I want you to put in the comments, screw perfection, just get started. This is an awesome, powerful mantra, because you will start to put more stuff out there. I want you to remember, all you need is the minimum viable product, right? You just need it to be good enough to get it out there to start attracting people. And once I started doing this, I was able to talk to people and be like, hey, here's my business. And then I got to quote unquote perfect things along the way. It's still not perfect, right? It's just that I'm getting better at putting stuff out there. And then I don't worry so much if it's perfect. And I promise you, I've put stuff out there that's not. Like one time I had someone contact me and say, you have a typo on your homepage. And it was like at the top. It was funny. I in the past, when I was really struggling with imposter syndrome, that would have horrified me. I'd have been like, oh my God, I made such a big mistake. People must think I'm an idiot, and beat myself up. And instead I just giggled and I was like, screw perfection. I got it out there. Screw perfection. I got my business to 6 figures because I said, screw perfection, just get started. So screw perfection, just get started. That's tip number 1. Now, tip number 2, this is an interesting one, because remember we said that imposter syndrome has to do with a lack of self-love. You got to start raising your value on yourself and loving yourself more. One of the symptoms of imposter syndrome is that you don't take good care of yourself. And so I want you in tip number 2 to start practicing self-care. Okay. And all this means is do something nice for yourself. So every 3 weeks, I either get a massage or I go to the chiropractor, and that's part of my self-care. Daily, I meditate and I journal and I take time off for myself. I schedule blocks in my schedule to practice self-care. Things like this is funny because look, check my nails out right now. They're horrible. I just moved and I haven't had time to go get them done, and I haven't had time. It's gel, so I haven't even gotten to take it off. And I'm just like, oh, it's time to practice some self-care. I need to get those dealt with. But things like manicures, or, if you're a guy, you could go get a massage or go to the movies by yourself. Go, if you love to play basketball outside, schedule 30 minutes to go play basketball outside. Whatever it is, like, schedule time for self-care. And that starts to signal to yourself, like, I'm worthy of taking care of myself. Remember, entrepreneurship is a long journey. If you're not practicing self-care along the way, you're going to get to the end of whatever success goal you think you have, and you're going to feel like shit, and you're going to be broken down. And that just keeps imposter syndrome going because you're not practicing self-care. So practice self-care, do something nice for yourself. Imagine you're like a little kid, and if you had a little kid, you wouldn't neglect them and push them and push them and push them and push them until they felt like they were burnt out and going to break. Instead, you would treat them on a regular basis. You balance things out, and you have them work, you work, and then you take care of yourself. You're going to need to do the same thing in your business. And this signals to your brain like, I matter and I value myself, and it starts to shift yourself out of some of that imposter syndrome because you love yourself. This builds confidence, and this helps manifest money because you're taking care of yourself, and a higher vibe frequency attracts money your way. So that's why you need to take care of yourself. Number 3, I want you to daily write down what you did that you are proud of. Okay, so every day write down, okay, what did I do today that I feel accomplished about, that I feel proud of? And if you're having a hard time, like you're struggling with procrastination and not taking action, then when you're writing this list down, write the thing that says, I'm proud of myself for writing this list right now. Okay, focus on the positive, focus on what you're doing that's in the direction of your dreams, and then start doing more of it every day. And this includes gratitude, right? So when you're writing down what you did that you're proud of, this in your brain highlights that you're taking action. And if you're stuck not taking action, go watch a whole bunch of my videos up in the corner. It's either going to be up here or up here. There's videos that'll link you to the action playlist. And you can start to watch videos on how to get into NFA action, no fucking around action, so that you can accelerate and build momentum. The bummer about imposter syndrome is that it causes procrastination. So I also have a procrastination playlist you can watch in order to start helping you break through imposter syndrome. But these are 3 tips. Okay, so I'm going to summarize. Use this mantra, screw perfection, just get started. Put that in the comments if you haven't yet. Screw perfection, just get started. And then think of one thing you can start to do it right now. Then number 2, practice self-care. Do something nice for yourself right now, or today. Do something nice for yourself today, this week. Start scheduling it out on your calendar. And as your business grows, you can schedule bigger things like a full weekend trip or a week-long trip or bigger things. For me now, it's like the massage and the chiropractic, and then I'll go to do other, trips, and I'll take off 4 days every month. And I really do nice things for myself. And then number 3, write down what you're proud of that you accomplished that day. So write down all the things that you did that you're proud of. And do this every day. You want to have gratitude for yourself every single day to start to signal how important you are, how much you love yourself. You got to start raising your value on yourself to break through that imposter syndrome so that you can attract money your way through the high vibrational frequency of feeling good and being more certain and having less doubt. Because remember, doubt lives in imposter syndrome, certainty lives in confidence. So here we're talking about money confidence. We're dropping imposter syndrome, doubts and fears and uncertainties so that you can manifest money your way more easily. All right, go ahead and check out the playlist that's down in this corner. It was for you if you're liking what you're getting here. And don't forget to leave a comment. Screw perfection, just get started. And until next time, NFA money making high fives.